You wake up in the morning, and before your eyes are even fully open, you are already thinking about what everyone else needs from you. Your partner needs you to be patient and understanding. Your parents need you to be the good child who never causes trouble. Your friends need you to be available, supportive, always there. Your co-workers need you to be agreeable, flexible, easy to work with. And somewhere deep inside, buried under all these expectations, there is a voice so quiet you can barely hear it anymore. A voice that used to know what you wanted, what you needed, what you felt. But you have learned to ignore that voice because every time you listened to it, every time you chose yourself, you saw the disappointment in someone's eyes, and that look hurt more than denying yourself ever could. And I need you to know something crucial before we go any further. What you are experiencing is not weakness. It is not selfishness to want your own life back. It is not wrong to feel exhausted from carrying everyone else's happiness on your shoulders while your own soul slowly suffocates. Because here is the paradox that nobody tells you. The very sensitivity that makes you so attuned to others' needs, so capable of love and compassion, is the same sensitivity that is slowly destroying you when you use it only in service of others and never in service of yourself. And by the end of our time together, you are going to understand not just why this is happening, but how to transform this pattern in a way that honors both your sensitive nature and your right to exist as a full human being with your own needs, desires, and boundaries. Let me paint you a picture of what your life looks like right now, and I want you to tell me if this resonates. You have become so good at reading the room, at sensing what others need, at adjusting yourself to make everyone comfortable, that you do it automatically now without even thinking. Someone starts to look disappointed, and you immediately scan yourself to figure out what you did wrong, how you can fix it, what you can change about yourself to make them happy again. You have trained yourself to be a chameleon, shifting and adapting to whatever the situation requires, and people love you for it because you make their lives so easy. You never cause problems, you never make demands. You are always understanding, always flexible, always willing to compromise, which really means you are always willing to give up what you want. And the terrible thing is that this pattern started so early, maybe in childhood, when you learned that love was conditional on being good, on not being too much, on taking care of others' feelings before your own. Maybe you had a parent who was fragile or angry or unpredictable, and you learned to read their moods, to manage their emotions, to make yourself smaller so they could be okay. Or maybe you were just born with this incredible sensitivity, this ability to feel everything so deeply, and you discovered that the world does not know what to do with sensitive souls except to use them, to lean on them, to expect them to absorb everyone else's pain without ever acknowledging that sensitive souls have their own pain that needs holding too. So you learned to hide your needs, to pretend you did not have any, to become the person everyone could rely on, while you slowly forgot how to rely on yourself. And now here you are, years or decades later, and you are so tired. Not physically tired, though you might be that too, but tired in your soul, tired of performing, tired of measuring every word before you speak to make sure it will not upset anyone, tired of saying yes when everything in you is screaming no, tired of watching yourself disappear a little more each day as you mold yourself into whatever shape others need you to be. And here is what nobody tells you about being a people pleaser, about being that sensitive soul who has learned to put everyone else first. The resentment builds. Even though you are choosing to do this, even though nobody is holding a gun to your head and forcing you to say yes, the resentment builds anyway, because part of you knows this is not sustainable, part of you knows you are betraying yourself with every accommodation, every time you swallow your truth to keep the peace. And then you feel guilty about the resentment because you are supposed to be the nice one, the understanding one, the one who does not get angry or have needs or expect anything in return. So you push the resentment down, you smile wider, you try harder to be good, and the cycle continues. You start to lose touch with what you actually want because you have spent so long focused on what everyone else wants that your own desires have become foreign to you. Someone asks you what you want for dinner, and you genuinely do not know because you have trained yourself to want whatever will make everyone else happy. You have opinions, strong ones actually, but you have learned to keep them to yourself unless you are absolutely certain they will not cause conflict. You have dreams, but you have learned to make them small and quiet because every time you reached for something just for you, someone needed you to reach for them instead, and you could not say no. And the most painful part is that the people in your life, the ones you are constantly accommodating and pleasing and taking care of, they often have no idea what this is costing you because you have become so skilled at hiding it. They think you are just naturally easygoing, naturally selfless, naturally content with whatever happens. They do not see the internal war you fight every time you choose them over yourself. They do not see how you lie awake at night, wondering who you would be if you ever gave yourself permission to just be, without performing, without managing, without constantly calculating how to make everyone around you comfortable. You know what is hardest about this pattern we are exploring? It is that you probably have never spoken about it honestly with anyone. How do you explain to people that their appreciation of you, their reliance on you, their love for how accommodating and understanding you are, is actually part of what is killing your spirit? How do you tell them that you need to stop being so good to them without sounding selfish or ungrateful? You carry this in silence, thinking that nobody would understand, that they would just tell you to set boundaries as if it were that simple, as if you had not tried 1,000 times only to cave the moment you saw hurt or disappointment in their eyes. But I want you to know something important. You are not alone in this, and I really want to hear your experience. When was the first time you realized you were living your life for everyone else? That moment when you looked in the mirror and did not recognize the person staring back because you had spent so long being what others needed that you forgot who you actually were. Leave a comment sharing your story. You can start simply with, "I first realized this when," and then tell me what happened, how it felt, what you have been carrying since then. This is a safe space, no judgment, just understanding. And know that when you share your experience in the comments, you are not just expressing yourself. You are lighting a path for someone else who is scrolling through right now, feeling completely alone in this exhaustion, desperately needing to know they are not the only one who feels like they are disappearing under the weight of everyone else's expectations. Your comment might be exactly what someone needs to read today to find the courage to start choosing themselves. I read every comment. Your story matters, you matter, and you will be heard here. Now I want to explore with you what Hermann Hesse understood about this pattern that most people miss entirely. Hesse spent his whole life writing about the journey of individuation, about becoming who you actually are rather than who others expect you to be, and he knew something crucial about sensitive souls. He knew that sensitivity is not a weakness to be overcome, but a gift to be protected, and that the greatest tragedy is not that the world is harsh to sensitive people, but that sensitive people learn to be harsh to themselves in order to survive in a world that does not value what they offer. In his novel Demian, Hesse wrote about the process of breaking out of the shell, of leaving behind the safe, confined world where you know your role and everyone approves of you, to step into the uncertain territory of becoming yourself. And he was clear that this process is terrifying because it means disappointing people, it means being misunderstood, it means losing the approval you have worked so hard to maintain. But he was also clear that the alternative, staying in the shell, slowly suffocating under the weight of others' expectations, is a death of its own kind, just slower and quieter. When you look at Hesse's characters, you see this pattern again and again. Sinclair in Demian, learning to trust his own inner voice even when it contradicts everything his respectable family taught him. Siddhartha, leaving behind teachers and doctrines to find truth through his own experience. The Steppenwolf, wrestling with the parts of himself that do not fit into polite society. These are all stories about sensitive souls who had to choose between being loved for a false version of themselves or being true and risking everything. And what Hesse understood is that this is not really a choice at all, because staying false eventually becomes unbearable. The mask eventually becomes too heavy to hold up, and you either step into your truth or you break under the weight of the pretending. What happens in your psychology when you spend years, maybe your whole life, prioritizing everyone else's feelings over your own is that you develop what we might call a split self. There is the outer you that everyone sees and loves, the accommodating, pleasant, easygoing you. And then there is the inner you, the real you, the one with needs and desires and boundaries and opinions, and that inner you gets pushed further and further down until it starts to feel dangerous, until your own authenticity starts to feel like a threat to your survival, because your survival has become dependent on being what others need. And this creates an incredible internal tension, because you cannot kill the real you can only suppress it, and suppressed things do not disappear. They just come out in other ways. Maybe you get sick more often because your body is carrying the stress of constant self-betrayal. Maybe you feel depressed or anxious, but you cannot figure out why, because from the outside your life looks fine. Maybe you have sudden bursts of anger that seem to come out of nowhere, but are actually decades of swallowed truth exploding out. Maybe you numb yourself with food or alcohol or work or scrolling because feeling nothing is better than feeling the constant ache of abandoning yourself. Your sensitivity, which is actually your superpower, your ability to feel deeply and love fully and understand complexity, that sensitivity gets turned against you and becomes the weapon you use to keep yourself in line. You feel too much, you notice too much, you care too much, and instead of seeing this as a gift, you see it as the problem. So you try to feel less, notice less, care less, which just makes you feel more dead inside. And here is what Hesse would tell you if he were sitting across from you right now. He would say that the path forward is not to become less sensitive, not to build thicker skin or stop caring about others, others, but to extend that same sensitivity and care to yourself, to become as attuned to your own needs as you are to everyone else's needs, to feel as much compassion for your own pain as you feel for others' pain, to protect your own heart with the same fierceness that you protect others' hearts. Because the real tragedy is not that you are sensitive in a harsh world, it is that you have learned to be harsh to the most sensitive part of yourself. You have become your own worst critic, your own harshest judge, the one who tells you that your needs do not matter, that wanting something for yourself is selfish, that disappointing others is the worst thing you could possibly do. And Hesse understood that freedom, real freedom, does not come from changing the world or changing other people. It comes from changing your relationship with yourself, from deciding that you matter, that your life is yours to live, that your truth is worth speaking even if it makes others uncomfortable. This is what he meant by individuation, by becoming who you are. It is not about being against others, it is about being for yourself, finally, after all these years of being against yourself in order to keep everyone else comfortable. Let me tell you what starts to happen when a sensitive soul finally stops pleasing everyone, when you finally decide that your own approval of yourself matters more than everyone else's approval of you. First, it feels terrifying. Your whole identity has been built on being the good one, the reliable one, the one who never causes problems, and when you start to change that, when you start saying no, setting boundaries, choosing yourself, it feels like you are becoming a bad person. Every conditioning you have received since childhood starts screaming at you that you are being selfish, that you are hurting people, that you are wrong. And some people in your life will react badly because they have grown accustomed to your accommodation. They have come to expect that you will always adjust to them, and when you stop doing that, when you start requiring them to consider your needs too, they experience it as you changing the rules, as you being difficult, as you not being yourself anymore. And they are right about one thing: you are not being your old self anymore. You are being your real self, maybe for the first time. And that real self has needs. That real self has boundaries. That real self is not always nice and pleasant and accommodating, because real human beings are not always nice and pleasant and accommodating. Real human beings are complex and sometimes messy, and they have limits to what they can give. But here is what also happens. As terrifying as it is, as much guilt and fear as you feel, there is also this feeling of coming back to life, of remembering what it feels like to be in your own body, in your own life, making your own choices. You start to notice things you had stopped noticing, like what you actually enjoy, what actually brings you peace, what you actually think about things. Your opinions start coming back. Your preferences start mattering again. You start to feel anger when people cross your boundaries instead of immediately swallowing it and blaming yourself. And this anger, as uncomfortable as it is actually healthy, because it means you are finally defending yourself, finally saying that you matter, that your well-being matters, that you are not just here to be used up in service of everyone else's comfort. And slowly, as you practice this, as you practice choosing yourself even when it is hard, even when people are disappointed, even when you feel guilty, you start to develop a different kind of strength. Not the false strength of enduring mistreatment, not the brittle strength of constant performance, but the real strength that comes from knowing yourself, trusting yourself, being willing to stand in your truth, even when you stand alone. You start to realize that the people who truly love you, who truly see you, they do not want you to disappear for them. They want you to be real with them. They can handle your boundaries. They can handle your truth. And the people who cannot handle it, the people who only want you when you are accommodating and self-sacrificing, those people were never really loving you anyway. They were loving what you could do for them, and losing that kind of conditional love, as painful as it is actually freedom. If you have found value in what we have been exploring together, if this conversation has touched something real in you, I want to invite you to subscribe to this channel. This is not just another self-help channel telling you to think positive or hustle harder. This is a space for deep exploration of what it means to be a sensitive soul in a world that does not always know how to honor sensitivity. This is where we explore the wisdom of Hermann Hesse and other great thinkers who understood that the path to real freedom runs through the inside, through knowing yourself, through having the courage to be yourself, even when it costs you everything you thought you needed. When you subscribe, you are joining a community of people who are on this same journey, who understand what it is like to be too sensitive for this world, who are learning to see their sensitivity not as a burden, but as a gift that needs protection. I create these videos because I believe that sensitive souls are not broken people who need to be fixed. They are awake people in a sleeping fast-developing world, and they need spaces where they can explore their truth without judgment. So if that resonates with you, click that subscribe button, not because I need your subscription, but because you deserve to have regular reminders that you are not alone, that your experience is valid, that there is a way forward that does not require you to betray yourself. I will be here every week offering these explorations, and I would be honored to have you as part of this community. So what does this actually look like in practice? This process of stopping the people-pleasing, of reclaiming yourself, it starts with something very simple and very difficult. It starts with noticing. Just noticing when you are about to accommodate someone at your own expense. Just noticing when you are about to say yes when you mean no. Just noticing when you are adjusting yourself to make someone else comfortable. You do not even have to change anything yet. Just notice it. Because you have been doing this on autopilot for so long that you do not even realize you are doing it. And the first step toward freedom is consciousness, is seeing the pattern while it is happening instead of only realizing it later when the resentment has already built up. And when you start noticing, you will be shocked at how often you do this, how many times a day you abandon yourself, how automatically you reach for the version of yourself that you think others need. And that is okay. Do not judge yourself for it. Just notice it with curiosity, with compassion, the same compassion you would feel for anyone who has been trained since childhood to believe that their survival depends on pleasing others. Then, once you can see the pattern, you start with very small experiments in choosing yourself. Not big dramatic confrontations, not burning your whole life down, just small moments where you tell the truth when you would normally lie to keep the peace. Small moments where you say no to something you do not want to do instead of saying yes and resenting it. Small moments where you state your preference instead of pretending you do not have one. And you will feel guilty. You will feel like you are being selfish. You will feel afraid. Let yourself feel all of that and do it anyway. Because every time you choose yourself, even in the smallest way, you are building new neural pathways. You are teaching yourself that you can survive disapproval, that you can handle someone being disappointed in you, that the world does not end when you prioritize your own needs. And you are going to need to grieve. Nobody talks about this part, but it is essential. You are going to need to grieve the version of yourself that you are letting go of, the good child, the perfect friend, the person who never caused problems. You are going to need to grieve the fantasy that if you were just good enough, accommodating enough, selfless enough, everyone would love you and you would finally be safe. You are going to need to grieve the relationships that cannot survive your authenticity, the people who only wanted you when you were useful to them. And this grief is real and it is painful, and you need to let yourself feel it without rushing to fix it or positive think your way out of it. Because on the other side of this grief is something you have been searching for your whole life. On the other side of this grief is you, the real you, not the performance, not the mask, not the carefully curated version designed to make everyone comfortable. Just you, messy and imperfect and gloriously, finally real. And when you find that person, when you come home to yourself after all these years of exile, you discover that you are enough. Not because you are perfect, not because you have finally become who you should be, but because you have stopped trying to be anyone other than who you are. And there is a peace in that, a deep, unshakable peace that does not depend on anyone's approval, that cannot be taken from you because it comes from within. Hermann Hesse wrote that the bird fights its way out of the egg is the world, and whoever wants to be born must destroy a world. And this is what you are doing when you stop pleasing everyone, when you finally choose yourself. You are destroying the world, the safe, confined world where you knew your role and everyone approved of you, because you never made waves, never caused trouble, never asked for anything. You are cracking that egg open and stepping out into the vast, uncertain space of being yourself. And yes, it is terrifying. Yes, you will lose things. Yes, there will be pain, but you will also gain something infinitely more valuable. You will gain your life back. You will gain the ability to look in the mirror and recognize the person looking back at you. You will gain the freedom to say yes when you mean yes and no when you mean no, without apologizing for having boundaries. You will gain the joy of knowing that when people love you, they are loving the real you, not some performance you are exhausted from maintaining. You will gain the energy you have been spending on managing everyone else's emotions, energy you can now pour into your own life, your own dreams, your own becoming. And you will discover that your sensitivity, that beautiful, terrible gift that has caused you so much pain when you used it only to serve others, that sensitivity becomes the source of your greatest wisdom and deepest joy when you finally turn it toward yourself with love. Before we close, I want to ask you something. If this exploration has meant something to you, if you have felt seen and understood here, would you consider liking this video and sharing it with someone who needs to hear it? There is someone in your life right now, I guarantee it, who is slowly disappearing under the weight of everyone else's expectations, who thinks they are the only one who feels this exhausted from being good, who needs permission to start choosing themselves. Your simple act of sharing this video could be the catalyst that changes their life. And if you have not subscribed yet, I really hope you will, because we are building something important here, a community of sensitive souls who are learning to honor their sensitivity instead of apologizing for it, who are choosing authenticity over approval, who are brave enough to become themselves even when the whole world wants them to stay small and safe and accommodating. Click subscribe, click the bell so you do not miss future videos, and know that you are not alone in this journey. I am here, this community is here, and we are all walking each other home to ourselves. You remember at the beginning when I talked about that voice inside you, the one that used to know what you wanted, what you needed, what you felt, the voice you learned to ignore because listening to it meant disappointing people. That voice is still there. Quieter maybe, buried under years of conditioning and performance and self-betrayal, but still there, still waiting, still knowing exactly who you are beneath all the masks. And every time you choose yourself, even in the smallest way, that voice gets a little louder, a little stronger, a little more certain. Until one day you wake up and that voice is not a whisper anymore, it is the clearest thing you hear. Clearer than everyone else's expectations, clearer than your own fear, clearer than the guilt that has controlled you for so long. And on that day, you will understand what Hesse meant when he said that the call to individuation, to becoming yourself, is the most important call you will ever answer. Not because it makes your life easier, it will not. Not because it makes everyone happy, it will not. But because it makes you real. And being real, being yourself, choosing your own life even when it costs you approval, even when it disappoints people, even when you have to stand alone, that is the only thing that transforms the exhaustion of performance into the aliveness of authentic existence. That quiet voice inside you knows the way home. It is time to start listening.